No, it's only in Seattle.
Those are the. She looks like the dinosaur from Toy Story. Oh, cute! And the chipmunks. Hi!
Sorry. Mine of my own.
The Wild Africa trip. Have fun, explorers. Lightning lane.
We are almost ready to board you on our safari vehicle. We wanted to make certain at home you about our safety. Before you actually enter the loading area, please locate the nearest trash bin and discard
Jumbo, everyone, and welcome to Kilimanjaro Safari. In order to keep your wait time to a minimum, we ask that you please keep your hands together, keep up with the party in front of you, and fill in all the available space. It is not necessary to form a single file line. If you are traveling with a stroller, please have children and valuables unloaded before you reach our stroller parking area. If you are traveling with someone in a scooter or wheelchair, please have this person lead your party through the line. This will help keep your
For my friends that are going to be sitting on the right-hand side, please make sure to watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. That's where we're going to slide shut. As I like to say, here is Harambe. As I like to say, here is Harambe. One day would be
Caribou means welcome aboard, so welcome everyone. My friends on the right, watch those hands are speed lights, those doors are closing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, they got 9 crocodiles. I like it.
Asante's on already. As we say here in Harambe, it's Twin Day. Twin Day means let's go. Jumbo everyone, welcome to Harambe Wildlife Reserve. My name is Camille and I'll be your safari guide today. Some important safety before we hit the road. Please keep those hands, arms, feet, legs inside the truck at all times. Remain seated. Parents, keep an eye on your children. Children, keep an eye on your parents. Also, if you look above you, you'll see that animal spotting guide. That'll help you identify some of the animals that we'll see here in the reserve. I can't guarantee you'll see all of them, but normally I have pretty good luck. We're gonna hang out right here for just a second while I wait on the warden to give us that all clear to head on into the reserve. Alrighty, here's today anyone's first safari here at Harambe. Well, I see several back there. Well, welcome friends, so glad to have you on board. For those of you returning, welcome back. Looks like the warden is just about ready for us, so to Twin Day friends, let's go. The first part of our safari today is going to be in the Little Aturi Forest. This forest is home to animals who use their colors and markings in form of natural camouflage. This may say might be a little bit harder to see, so keep your eye out for them. Looks like the first animal we're going to see is going to be coming up here on that right side there at the top of the hill in the corner. That is the okapi. The okapi may look similar to a zebra because of the stripes on its legs, but it's actually the closest relative to the giraffe. They have the exact same skeletal structure as a giraffe has, they just have a shorter neck. And they have the same long prehensile tongues. That means they move like fingers that they'll use to wrap around their food and bring it back in their mouth. That is the okapi. A lot of animals here in the forest are going to be pretty shy and timid. That means they often won't be all the way out in the open, but instead they like to hang out in bushes or behind trees. We'll see who else we can find here in the forest. Looks like they're at the top of the hill there on that left side is going to be a black rhino, which is the smaller of the two rhino species that live here in the reserve. These guys will come in at about 3,000 pounds. Despite that bulky size, they're actually able to run at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. They have long been hunted by poachers for those horns on their heads, but those horns aren't made of anything valuable. They're just made of keratin, just like your hair and fingernails. Similar to how we cut our hair and nails, those rhinos will actually file down their horns on rocks and trees to help keep them trim. Up there at the top of the hill on the right, you're going to see those light brown animals there. Those are some female greater kudu. I can tell that they are females because they lack the long spiral-shaped horns that males have. Males can grow horns up to 6 feet long. Looks like there are 2 more animals here on that left side. Those dark copper-colored animals are some bongos, which are one of my favorites. Both male and female bongos do have those thick horns there on top of their heads, which are just maneuvering through thick brush and vegetation. Also on that left side, you're going to see that pair of those dark black and white birds. Those are 2 saddle-billed stork. Those stork get their name from the yellow saddle-shaped shield present there on their beaks. We will often find those birds in pairs because they're species that like to mate for life. Looks like our safari's off to a pretty awesome start so far, but we're going to keep going. Let's make our way out of the little Turi forest and over to the Safi River. The Safi River is home to animals like the Nile hippo and the Nile crocodile who like to hang out near the water, so we'll see if we can go find either one of those. Looks like there in the corner on that right side is going to be a pair of those Nile hippos. We'll see if we can find some that are a little bit easier to see. Those Nile hippos will spend most of their time inside the water. They can actually stay fully submerged underneath the water without coming up for air for up to 8 minutes at a time. There are some more of those hippos. They're on the left side. Hippos are one of the largest land animals. They come in at about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds on average. They're also known for their very large babies. The average weight of a hippo calf when it's born is about 85 pounds. Also there on the left side, you're going to see all those large white birds hanging out there on the island in the middle. That is a pod of pink-backed pelicans. Those pelicans get their name from the pink coloration that appears on their back throughout the duration of their mating season. The pink color is not there all the time, so it is unique to that season. Yeah. One thing you're going to learn about me is that I love to tell you what group names of animals are called. That was a bloat of hippos back there. And like I said, that was a pod of those pelicans. Looks like the next animal here on that left side is going to be this group of Nile crocodiles. The Nile crocodile can be about as long as a giraffe can be tall, which is about 15 to 20 feet. They can also weigh up to 400 pounds and eat about half their body weight in a single feeding. Because they eat so much at once, they'll only feed about 1 time per week. Mother crocodiles will help their babies hatch by rolling their eggs gently around their mouths to help the babies escape. Now we're going to be making our way out of the Safi River area and head over to the savannah. This is also just a reminder, those roads here in the reserve are very rough and bumpy, so do make sure that we're hanging on to all those loose articles and staying all the way seated. The first thing we're going to see here as we make our way down into the savannah is going to be here on that right side. It's going to be that large tree. That is the baobab tree. It's also nicknamed the upside down tree because it looks like its roots are upside down, set underneath the ground where they belong. Those trees actually just look like that because they can remain leafless for up to 9 months out of the year. They'll survive long periods of drought while storing water in their trunks. The savanna itself is a very unique ecosystem. It gets too much rain to be considered a desert, but not enough rain to be considered a rainforest, so it is part of its own category. It's home to some fan favorite animals like the giraffe and zebra, which I think I just saw a zebra over here on the right side, so we'll see if we can see it. Looks like there is a group of those Hartman's Mountain zebras coming up here on the right. We can tell that these are those thicker stripes in the back, the thinner stripes up towards their head, and a solid white underbelly. They also have that extra flap of skin underneath their neck, which is called a dewlap, and they're the only zebra species that have one of those, so that does make them unique. We'll often find those zebras in groups of about 5 to 6 females and 1 male. A group or a herd of zebras is called a dazzle, and I think that is pretty fitting. These are the Hartman's Mountain zebras. Here on that left side, looks like the next animal we're going to see is going to be a group of African wild dogs. We're going to be coming up here on the left, right underneath that rock. These are also known as the painted dogs because that brushstroke pattern of their coats. They are one of the most successful hunters here in the savannah. They have about a 90% success rate, and that is exceptionally high for a predator. Looks like also here on the left, there's a whole group of those Ankole cattle as well. That's those animals with those long thick horns on their heads. The Ankole cattle are also known as Watusi cattle, after the tribe that first domesticated them. Those are actually the only domesticated animals that live here in the reserve. Those long horns on their heads can reach lengths of up to 6 feet long. And while they look to be completely solid, they actually have a honeycomb structure on the inside. The honeycomb structure is full of blood vessels because they circulate blood throughout their horns. That helps with their temperature regulation and is one of the adaptations they have that allows them to stay cool here in the savannah. Those were the Ankole cattle. Let's keep making our way across the savannah and see what else we can find a little bit further up. Looks like we will get another pretty good view of those Hartman's Mountain zebras here on the right. Looks like one of those Maasai giraffe has made its way over here. We can tell that these are Maasai giraffe because of that patchwork pattern of their coats. Every giraffe does have a unique set of spots that's similar to how humans will have unique sets of fingerprints. That's how they can tell each other apart. These guys are the tallest land animals. They come in at about 15 to 20 feet tall.
Oh.
The average height of a baby giraffe when it's born is about 6 feet tall, so they do have really tall babies as well. The first thing that a baby giraffe will experience in this world is gravity, and that's because their moms will give birth standing up. That means the babies will have about a 6-foot drop to the ground at birth, but despite that long drop, they're actually able to stand and walk within the first hour of their lives. These giraffe do use those long legs to help carry themselves across the savannah. These guys can actually reach speeds just like that black rhino we saw over in the forest of about 35 miles per hour. These giraffes do spend a lot of their time eating. They can actually spend up to 18 hours of their days eating. They are known for their very long, dark purplish colored tongues, and their tongues are so dark in color, they'll keep them getting sunburned throughout the day. There's a great view of that giraffe there on the right. I do love a good group name, so I will find that a group of giraffe when they are standing still is called a tower, but if they are migrating, they're actually called a journey. These are the Maasai giraffe.
Are they complaining?
Looks like that's just about all the animals that I can see for now, so we'll keep making our way across the savannah. Looks like I see an African elephant coming up here on that right-hand side. One of the ways we can tell the difference between an African elephant and an Asian elephant is that the African elephant's ears are actually shaped like the continent of Africa.
What are the other ears shaped like? Asia?
over there on that right, or on the left side, that is a group of mandrills right there behind the rock. They are a little bit hard to see because they're over there in the shade. The mandrill is the largest species of monkey. The adult males can weigh up to 100 pounds. They're known for those red and blue markings on their faces, which make them look similar to baboons. But the difference between the two is those mandrills will have short tails and baboons will have longer tails. That was the African elephant on the right and the mandrills on the left. Most of the time I can see a few more of those African elephants a little bit further up in the reserve, so we'll keep going and see if we can go find some more a little bit further up. This bridge we're about to cross is very bumpy, so please do hang on to all those loose articles. I'll go pulley-pulley across it. That means slowly. Like we made it off that bridge okay, so let's go see if we can find some more of those elephants. We just made our way over to the red clay pit area of the savannah. And these red clay pits let us know that we're heading a little bit further over into elephant country because of all the tusk marks we can see here in the clay, like those ones over on the right. Elephants are actually known to eat that red clay because it's rich in nutrients and minerals like sodium and iron that are beneficial for their diets. Looks like I do see some more of those African elephants over there on the left side, so we'll keep looping around and go get a better view. One of my favorite conservation projects actually involves the species of African elephants that live here in the reserve. Farmers in Kenya are starting to build what's called a bee fence, and that's because elephants are known to run away from bees. Farmers having issues with elephants trampling their crops, so the rate of poaching increased. Researchers looked for a natural solution to this problem, and they found that bees are the perfect one. Having a hive of bees on a fence row helps to keep the elephants out of the farmers' crops, so that'll help to cut down on the rate of poaching, keep the farmers' crops unharmed, and the farmers can also harvest the honey that the bees produce for a profit. That way is a win for everybody. These elephants will live in a matriarchal society. That means they're led by the oldest and largest female member within their herd. You can also see that a lot of those elephants over there will have some sand or mud on their back. Elephants have very sensitive skin, so they'll actually throw that sand or mud on there themselves to kind of act like a natural form of sunblock. That helps to keep them getting sunburned throughout the day. Those elephants will also spend a lot of their time eating, just like those giraffe. These guys can actually eat up to 300 pounds of food per day, the average adult elephant. Sometimes it'll fluctuate based on their size and age. Looks like the next group of animals we have here is going to be here on that left side. This is a group or a flamboyance of greater flamingos. The greater flamingo is the largest and the lightest pink color of the flamingo species. They get their characteristic pink coloration from what's called beta-carotene, present in the brine shrimp that they eat. Flamingos are born gray, so they do have to gain that pink coloration. Takes them a few months after they're born to do that, sometimes up to a year. Also, if you take a look at that island there in the middle on the left side, you may notice a familiar shape about it. It's actually one of the largest hidden Mickeys here on property. Let's see what else we can find a little bit further up in the savannah. Looks like we have made our way over into rhino territory. There's a group of white rhinos coming up here on that left side. The white rhino is the larger of the two rhino species. These guys are a little bit bigger than the black rhinos. They can be about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. They get their name from the Afrikaans word vite, and that actually means wide. That refers to their broad, wide mouth shape. Their mouth shape is actually one of the main differences between a black rhino, like we saw over in the forest, and the white rhinos, like we see here. Those black rhinos have a pointy mouth shape because they eat things like leaves and branches over in the forest, and these white rhinos have their wide mouths for grazing here in the savannah. They are known for their poor eyesight. They can only see about 10 to 15 feet in front of them, which is why they often will accidentally run into things like large rocks and trees. That's why a group of rhinos is called a crash. back up on that left side, I do spot my very favorite animal, the cheetah. There's one right there in the middle. They are a little bit hard to see up there because they blended so well. These cheetahs are the fastest land animals. The fastest speed ever recorded from a cheetah was about 75 miles per hour. Most of the time their speeds range from about 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds. A group of those cheetahs, like we saw back there, is called a coalition. Looks like another Brenda saying hello to us this morning.
Get it out. Get it out.
Looks like the male's going to be on this side, but I think I hear those females over on the far side. Lions are known for their very loud roars. Another lion can actually hear that from about 5 miles away.
Never seen it up on the line.
These lions are the only large cats that will hunt together in groups. The females within the pride do all the hunting, while the males like to stay behind, take care of the cubs, and protect their territories. We often won't see these lions awake throughout the day because they do spend about 16 to 20 hours their day sleeping. When they are awake, they tend to be most active in the evening or nighttime, sometimes the early morning as well if it's cool enough. That rock formation that those lions live on is called a kopie, and they like to sit up there so they have an excellent vantage point to better see across the savannah.
Really?
Looks like the next animal coming up here on the left side is going to be a group of warthogs. The warthog is closely related to the domestic pig, and they're actually the largest burrowing mammal. That means they live in all those holes that you can see there in the dirt. They've actually dug themselves using their tusks, feet, and snout. Just like the rhino and the giraffe, these warthogs can actually run at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour, so they are pretty speedy. A group of them is called a sounder. Looks like I saw several more animals coming up here on the right side. I think I saw a few more of those white rhinos. There's also another little friend sitting here on the ground in front of us on the right. Looks like I see one of the baby rhinos up there on the hill. Looks like also here on the right, that little antelope hanging out there on the ground is the resident Bonsbach, and he's the only one of those that lives here in the reserve. There's also a nest of ostrich eggs there on the right, and an ostrich was there in the back. Some fun facts about those ostriches that they are the largest species of bird. Despite being birds and having wings, they are unable to fly. Instead, they'll use those wings to steer and change direction while they're running.